Okay, so I'm working on these carburetors. You can see I've cleaned this one up pretty nicely, and this is one I've had dipped in cleaning fluid for a while. But you can see here that these spindles, these throttle spindles or shafts are much different. Obviously they come as a standard package and then you cut them to suit. But you can see this one has quite a bit of wear in it. It's hard for me to do it unless I put it in the vise, but I can feel it on there, on that bearing here, that there's quite a bit of wear there. Now, taking the old bushes out, I've used a 9.5 drill, which was perfect because when I then put the new, here they are now, I'll show you. So, as you can see, that's the original throttle shaft, and this is the new one. Obviously, they're centered with the butterfly, so that's not an issue. But the issue here is, as I said, I can put them in. I can take the old bushes out or drill them out and kind of line drill them to a certain extent with the drill press here. But what the issue really is the internal idea of this. Now, there isn't an awful lot in it, but as you can see, it should spin freely but not have any movement in the shafts at the end. This is absolutely perfect now. The problem is it's a little too tight, and what you would normally do is go out or get a reamer, but for people who are doing this job where you're not doing it on a regular basis, they can get quite expensive. A reamer, for instance, from 8 to 9, which is what I would need, in between sort of 8.4 whatever, I could buy an adjustable reamer, but they're about £125, and I'm only going to, chances are this is probably the last lot of HD8s I ever do, being 70. So just to give you an idea, this is a 9 to 10 mil adjustable reamer. I probably would need an 8 to 9. But you can see the kind of price at £125. So it's a lot if you're only going to use it once. So there are alternative ways to do it, but you need to be extremely careful and use very high grade paper. You know, not sort of 40 grit or 60 or 80. You need something that's high, 500,000, whatever. It's a very, very small tolerance, so you need to make sure you don't overdo it. Anyway, there you go. Okay, so I've done that one. As you can see, so much better now. Going over center, and there's no aurora around the edge, so it's nice and centered. Loctite was the word I was trying to use, word I was trying to find for these screws. So I've tightened them up now, and then I'll turn them over and just open them because they're split, but don't open them too much. But Loctite's probably one of the other ways to do it, just to stop them coming out. So what I'm going to do now is I've put this double chevron seal here on, and then this plastic cap goes on the end of that and sits, and it sits in shoulders into there, so it should be flush. And I'll show you this side so you can see that it is. So you can see that that's flush there, and all I do is just use a socket which is the right size to get it to go flush. So what I'll do now is I'll pop this one in and knock it in, and I'll show you. Unfortunately I can't hold the camera and show you, so I'll turn it off and then I'll show you how it looks afterwards. So there you go. So that's them in both sides, nice and flush. And if I hold this up to the light, you can see there's no gap around it, there's no aurora around the edge of that butterfly. So that's that part of it done. So what I'll do now is I'm going to rebuild this one completely, then I'll start on the second one. But that's a good start. So I now know what I need to do is just give them, it's a very, very fine amount. A 500 grit or even 1,000 grit would be enough, but make sure you give it a good clean out with with solvent afterwards, so there's nothing in there, no debris. What you don't want to leave is anything like a grit, because it'll become like a paste, and every time that opens and shuts it'll grind on it. So make sure it's absolutely clean once it's done. But as you can see, that's very easy for me to operate that now, same as it is on that one, but that one's worn and it's pretty gummed up. So that's the first part done. I'll start putting the rest together and we'll see how we go from there. So that's one carburetor set up, not set up, but it's together. That's completely, everything's changed in it. The only thing I don't have is I don't have a new needle, which I'll have to get, but hopefully I can get it running with these old needles that are in it and then get them replaced later. So that's one done. Now I've started on the body of the second one. I've already cleaned most of the stuff, but except the body, and I stripped it down. And unfortunately, what I've found is this. There's a hole right through there, right on that casting. I was thinking maybe somebody had put the bell screws in and gone down too far. And I maybe punched it out. Something's been put in there and it's knocked that casting out for sure. But if you try and tighten these up too much, they're not, the thread is not right the way through, so it can't go any further than that. So there is a stop on it. So something's been put in there to clean it, whatever. I can only assume these things. As you can see, yeah, it's damaged there in the corner. It actually looks like it's almost like it's wear, but maybe if I look on the casting on the other side, so that's where it is. Maybe something's been rubbing on it. Does seem a bit strange. Anyway, I've talked to the guy Klaus that I got it from, and unfortunately he's not going to be back home till Saturday. So I'm going to attempt to try and use, I've got some JB Weld here, and hopefully what I can do, as I say, you can see there, if I put it through, you can see where it is. Now that's an air from the filter, goes in there and up through the carburetor there. So there's a passageway right there, which is probably quite low pressure anyway. What I'm thinking is just now, because I really need this ramp back, I'm thinking if I can put something in there like that, like this paper, put the JB Weld on it, and then once it's set up reasonably, try and pull it out, or just clean the paper afterwards, you know, just turn it like that. I'm thinking that might be the way to go. So I'll make some up. I've got nothing to lose, because I really need this ramp back. I've got to get this car running by this weekend and get it off so I can get the Mini on. So I'll give it a shot, hopefully, and see how it goes. Okay, so you can see I've cleaned the two carbs. I haven't polished them yet, but they're all completely redone. Spindles, bushes, everything. The only thing that hasn't been changed is the needles, and I'll need to get some, but I want to see if I can get it running first. Now, obviously these have got banjo unions on them, so there's one here, and this banjo union with a T-piece here. So now what I can do is, instead of having all this crap, as you can see, which is a mess, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 lines on it. Look at all those Jubilee clips, it's crazy. So now this line from the fuel filter can go straight into this T-piece under here. And then all I have to do is put one line on there, onto this banjo union here. So just one small line from here onto here. And that's it, and I can get rid of all this junk, because look at it, it's just absolute mess. Really. Anyway. So one of the things I have to do, they're only just popped on, they're not on yet. So one of the things I have to do now is I have to make a spindle from here to here. And I've got an old spindle, this was from the HS8. What I'll do then is cut that spindle down to exactly the right size. Obviously I'll tighten them up first, get the spindle, get the distance, measure it, and then I'll cut this down so it fits perfectly in here and there. And you can see already I've got this throttle cable, which is the original throttle here. I haven't tightened this up on the spindle yet, but you can see that's the way it's going to work. and obviously I need to transfer that from there onto the next one. So I'll cut this to the right size. This is steel, mild steel, so it's better than the brass, stronger. I'll cut that to the right size, and then I will use these W springs. These are quite old. They're off 150s and 140s and so on. So these are used to join spindles together. I might not be able to do it with my hand, but maybe I can. Hang on. There we go. So you can join spindles together like that. Unfortunately, on this old manifold here off the XK150, these are HD6s, and as you can see, there are two on there that I can reuse. I'll maybe even see, I don't think, but I think there might even be a join in that, but that won't be long enough. So I've got one here, and I'll use those two as well to make up that spindle. The other thing I need as well is I will need from the old shaft, which is here, I'll need this. I'll have to drill this one out, this throttle stop, and I need to find another one. So I'll need to put that throttle stop in, so that means I'll have to drill the carb and put the throttle stop in. So that's good news. I'm so glad I found these, because without these I wouldn't have been able to finish it up, and yeah, it would have been a bit of a problem. As far as the carburetor is concerned, it's worked very well. The BJ Weld, I've tried it, it holds pressure, and I think, which carburetor is it now? Is it this one? I've forgotten where it is now. No, it's not that one. Let me just put that on there and pop this off. It's this one. And you can see on the carburetor, there's the JB Weld there. I had to punch that hole in the bottom of it there to allow that screw to go through, because unfortunately what happened there was some of the weld had gone up inside the screw hole. It's fallen down into the screw hole, so I had to drill it through, and I've now punched a bit of a hole in the back of it. So what I'll do tomorrow is I'll put something inside there and fill up that little hole there, and so the air goes through this one here and then through up into the plunger of the carburetor, or the piston of the carburetor. But it unfortunately had gone right up into the thread, and I couldn't get the screw down. So there we go.